Okay, so this is the next video in the continuation of the Fast API series. So let's see what we have covered till now. So we have covered approximately 20 videos, and in the video number 19, we see how to delete the particular item by giving the any ID from the documentation. But what was happening, like anyone can delete the ID, right? But in the actual application, the owner should either the admin should only delete the particular item. Let's suppose there are 10 user. The user number 1 created 5 items, user number 2 created 5 items. So user number 1 can update or can delete only those items which was created by the particular user only, and user number 2 can only update or delete only those items which was created by user 2 only, right? So we need to implement some kind of login functionality, some kind of authentication or authorization kind of functionality, right? So till now what we are doing is, so let me activate my environment. So till now what we are doing, 1 minute, nano items.py file. So this is our create item route. So when we are creating the item, by default every time owner ID is equal to 1 is entering into the database, right? So because to implement in the, we are starting in the learning phase, so we hard coded this owner ID, but owner ID should not be the hard coded, right? So the user first came and they can create the account. So one ID will be assigned to the particular user, and then they log in into the account, and then they create the item, and automatically whoever the user has been logged in, automatically that ID should come here, but not this hardcode ID, right? So we have to implement some kind of security features, right? So there is a documentation in the Fast API official documentation. There is a topic called security, and we have 4 to 5 topics. So first we have to understand a few basic terms. We will cover this into maybe 3 or 4 videos, everything. But before that we will we have to understand some basic terms, because if you understand the basic terms, code is really very easy. We can easily, if we know the concept of the security concepts, what is OAuth, what is JWT, if we know that and how the flow works, then anyone who knows the Python can write that code. So it's not a rocket science. Okay, so first we have to see what is the difference between authentication and what is the difference between authorization, because we are going to implement both authentication and we are also going to implement authorization as well. So authentication is basically means when you log in into you have a Facebook account or the Gmail account. So when you enter your email ID and the password and you hit enter, then that card is that process is called as an authentication. So the application is you are getting authenticated. So the application is trying to who the user is, basically, right? Then the authorization comes it is basically related to the permission. So let's suppose I log in into the Facebook, right? But what permission I have? So I have only permission of to create account, to create a post, to upload the post. I don't have permission to delete any other post, and the post which is created by the any other user, right? So that's come under the authorization. So authorization is the user who has already logged in. Now what all actions that particular user can perform. So in this we have to implement authentication as well, and we have to implement authorization as well. Because why authentication? Because first we because when the user will create the account, right? So user will create the account, so they will create the account using the user ID and the password. So user ID password will be get generated and it get entered into the database. Then before creating the post, we will while creating the post, we will not allow anyone create the post. So we will once the user will click on the create a post URL, so one pop-up should come, and it will ask for, okay, first you should authenticate yourself. like whether you are the actual user or not. Okay, so that is the authentication. And authorization part, like we will implement during the, like when the user is trying to update or delete the item or any post of any other user, then we will like implement the authorization. So even to implement authorization, we have to implement authentication as well. Okay, so this is the difference between authentication and authorization. And there are few common methods like for the authentication. So I have like noted all these things from the official documentation only. So this is the like the first step, security intro. So they told that we have two concepts, one is authentication and one is the authorization. Alright, and though even they told that if you don't want to like read about this, you can like skip this, skip to the next chapters. But if we skip to the next chapters, we can't implement the code. So we should know like what is different, what is authentication, what is authorization, what are the different basic method, how the flow will actually work. So we are a very common method for the authentication which we generally use nowadays. One is the basic authentication. So in the basic authentication, user will log in, user create account. So once the account get created, so user will get login by entering the username and the password. As soon as the user get hit the enter, one session or either the session or either the cookie will be generated, which will be stored locally into the browser. So I think there is somewhere into the browser, like the particular get stored. So that is a very basic authentication, which nowadays like a very few application only use. So most of the application use JWT or OAuth2 or OpenID Connect. So what is JWT? So JWT is basically the extension of this. So what will happen? User will enter the user ID and the password, and after that, rather than like a session or cookie will be generated, one token will be generated. When I say token is just a random string. Like a token could be something like this. So a random string. Right. So just for the time being, you can understand. So as part of the basic authentication, user will like enter the user ID and the password, and the detail will be get stored into the session or the cookies within the browser. And as if we implement the JWT authentication, it means the user will enter the user ID and the password. So first the user ID and password will be like authenticated, then one token will be generated. Okay, as part of the OAuth2. So many times what will happen, so like generally let's suppose I have created one application and I don't want to store the like user ID and the database in my system. So what we will do, like I will use the third party like a service, whether the Facebook, Google or GitHub. So I will use the third party service. So when we like use the third party services to authenticate the user, then we called as a OAuth2 method. So if you go into the official documentation, everything is written there. So they told that OAuth2 is basically like when we authenticate using the third party. So third party means login via Facebook, Google, Twitter, GitHub or anything, right? OpenID Connect is same as OAuth2, but it is a little bit you can say extension of the OAuth2. OAuth2 will be there, but a little bit more extra services. All right, so we will like look at these two, JWT and OAuth2. All right, so this is like what is authentication and what is authorization. So we know authentication and authorization, so that is okay, but how to implement, that is the concern, right? So this is just the definition. By going to the definition, we can't write the code, right? Okay, let me close this. Okay, so we have covered this thing. So in the security intro, they have mentioned authentication and authorization. They have like tell us what is OAuth2, OAuth1. OAuth1 is like they also told like it's not a very popular nowadays. That's why I have not mentioned OAuth1. OpenID Connect, OpenID Connect and OpenID both are the different open API. So we know like all these methods. So now go to the next steps, security steps. So now the thing is how to implement, right? So what will happen? So if you go to look at, if you understand this diagram now, so you can like easily like write the code. So what will happen? There is a user, right? And user will log in into the website. All right, so if one or login into the website, or you can say like click on some button, like either the login button or any button, right, or either authorize button or any button. So as soon as like the user will click on that button, one form will be generated. All right, and that form will ask enter your username or email address and enter your password, right? So user will enter those details and hit the enter. So as soon as it hit the enter, so first what will happen, so first we like in the database like some query will be run at the backend, but it will check whether the particular email id exists or not. Okay, if the email id doesn't exist, then it will throw the error to the user like email id doesn't exist. If the email id exists, then it will check whether the password is same or not. If the password is same, if the password is not same, then it will again throw the error that you are not it's like invalid credentials, right? If the password is same, so user get like so first the user will like check whether the user will exist or not. Okay, then in the second stage what it will do, it will verify the password, whether the password what the user has entered, whether it is matches with the password which is stored into the database or not. Okay, so let's suppose if the password is also get verified. After that what will happen, so as I told you, there are few methods. One is the basic token. So once the password will get verified, if we use the basic authentication like technique, then we will store like create one like a session and stored into the browser. But we are not going through the session. We are like use the JWT. JWT is basically JSON Web Token. So now we are using the JWT, so we don't have to store the information into the, we don't use the concept of the session and the cookies, right? We have to use the concept of the tokens, right? So once the password get verified, what it will do, it will create some random string, and that random string we called it as a token. Alright, so it will create a random string. Just remember, it's just a random string. I will even tell you more about what is token, how it consists of, why it is called a bearer. So it will create some token, and then we will send that token, and that's it. Right, so this token contains the actual data. So even though it is some random character A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or some numeric character, some alphabet characters, some special case character, even though it is like a token is consist of some characters, but these characters contains very useful informations, and that is very unique. So what useful information like it will hold? So what information we have entered? So we have entered email and password, right? These things we have like entered. So it will hold this information only. By using this information only, like the token get created. So token basically actually contains the actual data, whatever the data user has been entered, because once the user has entered the data, only after the token get created. So how the token get created? Token, we are not like using a random library, or not creating a random characters, but by using this data, we are like applying some decode functionality on this data, and we are creating a token. So token contains basically the actual data, username or email of a user, right? Okay, so let's look. So there is a like official website jwt.io. so let's look how the token looks. So I could say like this is a token, right? So you could see like it is some garbage characters, right? So to us, to the front end user, so these are the garbage character, but it contains some information, because this token get created from this data. So this token contains some useful information, because as I told you, the user are entering the data, so email id and something, we are decoding it, or you can say we are encrypting it, and then we are adding a few more things, and then we are creating a token. So this token contains actual data. All right, so this is the token. So you could see like half is the red in the red color, then there is a dot, then there is a like pink color, then there is a dot, then there is a blue color, right? So what the red color will donate? So red color holds the information about the algorithm. Algorithm is like because the user has entered the email, and we have like do some kind of encryption on that. So by using which algorithm, like we are creating a token, you can say. So the first, this red character before the first dot, it will not contain the actual data. It only contains by which algorithm we are creating that JWT token. So it contains, let's suppose hash 256 is the algorithm. There are so many algorithms. So there are so many, a long list of algorithms. So this ESDSA, ES256K, there are so many algorithms, right? But what algorithm we use, that is not a concern here, but how the token looks, that is a concern, and what it holds, that is the concern. So first things will hold the header information. In the header it will say, okay, by using which algorithm we have encoded it and what is the type. So it is a JWT. Then there is a dot, right? Okay, then there is a pink character, then again there is a dot. So this pink character contains the actual data, and what the data user has been entered. So in our case, user is entering some email ID. So some like email ID will be like stored. So here like they have created like 1 2 3 4 7 8, there is some unique ID, but in our case it should be the email ID, but the key should be sub. So we can't change this, that is the subject. So subject is like a subject whom the token refers to. So this is the like main thing, like whom the token will refer to. So what is name is nothing, issue that. So this is the main thing. So we have to use the same key, that is a SUB. So if we don't understand this token then we can't even write the code, because if we don't know how the token looks, whether the token contains algorithm or not, whether the token contains some information or not, if the information is getting contained, what is in the form, whether it is a form of key value pair, so it is in a form of key value pair, and what is the key, whether key is KEY or whether it is some another name. So it is with some another name, that is SUB, that is a subject. So it is with the SUB name only. Okay, then there is a dot, right? After that some blue information is there. So what those blue information is there? So blue information is basically you can say it. So as I told you, like what we will do, we will like encode this particular data, right? So what they are doing is so blue information is basically, you can say, encoded information by using some secret key, because while creating a token, user is entering the data, we are encrypting it. Along with that we are like adding some secret key as well. Just remember that we are adding some secret key. Leave that how we are adding that, just leave that. So what has been doing is, so we are adding the 256, and then we are encoding the header, we are encoding the payload means the actual data, and we are adding the our secret key, right? So if I change anything, let's suppose there is a DOE, so automatically token will get changed. Let's suppose I enter E as well, so you see the characters is getting changed here automatically, right? On this side the characters are getting changed. So if I delete this, so characters are getting changed. So there is a unique token for the corresponding data. Okay, so now we understand, because why it is we should know this information, because till this point it is okay. We will accept the data from the user, we will verify from the data by running the query, we will verify the password as well, but we have to create the token. If we don't know how the token looks like, what all the information it holds, then how we can create the token? We can't create the token. So that's why before even implementing the actual process, we should know how the token looks like. So now we know the token looks like some like it contains some algorithm, it contains the data, and the data should be in the form of key value pair, and the key should be SUB, and there should be some secret key. Now when we implement the actual logic of create token, we will implement all those things. We will pass the data, we will pass the algorithm, we will pass some secret key, and then we will combine everything and we will create a token, and then we will return a token. Okay, so this concept is clear. So let me close this, and let me close this as well. Now there are like a few more things. So let me show you the first let me start the application which we have like developed till now. So till now how the application is looks. So it will take few seconds. So application has been started. So if I browse the application, so till now our application is looking like this only, right? So anyone can like create the item. If I create the item, every time it will be created by the owner ID 1, because in our code it is owner ID 1, and I can modify the like data. It doesn't matter who has created the item. I can delete like any item. It doesn't matter who is the user, right? But this is not the case. So we can like do everything right now. So first step is we have to accept the username and the email. So once the user will create the account, so to create the account, so there are few things, like user can create the account, user can get the user, and user will create the post, user can get the post, user will put the post, user will delete the post. So to be honest, to create the account, it is a sign up form, right? So to create an account, so to create the account, we don't have to implement any kind of like authentication, because we are trying to create an account, right? So there is nothing to, we will not touch this code. But when the user will try to create an item, before creating the item, so as soon as user will click on this, so it should ask for first authenticate yourself, first enter your user ID or password. So if you are already authenticated yourself, then you can create the item, right? Even like in the get, I don't think like or on the get routes we have to implement the authentication, so anyone can like read the items. On the put, only the valid user can modify their item. On delete as well, only the owner can delete their own items, right? So for put, delete, post, we will implement authentication. But I could not see like where should I enter the user ID and the password, right? I could not see anything, because the first step is user has to enter the user ID and the password. Okay, that is fine. I came here, I created the user. Let me create the user. So let's pause example@example.com, and the password is example, EXAMPLE. So user will came here, user have created the account. So let's see. So account has been created, example@example.com, and user is active now. Now how I can authenticate? I could not see any like even without authentication, like I can create the post, or I can delete the post, I can modify any post. But the first step is we have to enter the user ID and the password. So where should I enter the user ID and the password? I could not see any form, right? So we have to develop some kind of functionality. So we should not write any HTML code. So this is the like because we are using the OAuth2 is we are using the basically third party tools. So all the third party tools are exist in the FastAPI.security module. So let me show you FastAPI.security. So all these third party module exist in the FastAPI.security. Okay, that is fine. So we know these things. So we don't have to write one input tag, one HTML code to develop a like a form which will like take a user ID and the password. We will just write 2 lines of code, and automatically like we could able to see, because our first point is to create, just leave everything, start from the first, because now we understand the process. So start from the first end. So user is here, fine. Second step is we have to enter the user and the password to authenticate ourselves. But where should I? We don't have any option. So let's create that. Clear. So let me go to the routers, and let me create one file, login.py file. As I told you, everything is in the FastAPI.security. So from FastAPI.security, we are importing OAuth2 password bearer. So this is, so we know some kind of form, right? A form. And we like I told you, we are not developing any form. If we are not developing any form, we are using any third party form, right? So that's why we are using the OAuth 2. Okay, so there is a library OAuth 2 password bearer. What it will do, it will like you can say create a beautiful form for us. Okay, so we have implemented that. Then we will create a OAuth 2 session. So let me check. Yeah, OAuth 2 scheme. So we have to create a object of what? OAuth 2 password bearer. Okay, fine. So we have created the OAuth 2 scheme as well. So what is the next step? So the user will enter the data. So user will like get verified. But how this know, like where should I like get verified? So here within this we have to like basically through which function or through which route, because here like everything is in the form of a routes. So any functionality is in the form of a route. So item functionality, create item is in a form of route, retrieve item in a form of route, right? So how this function know, like first I go to the which route to verify the user, right? So we say that okay, token URL equal to token. So let's suppose there is a route, and let me give it token slash login slash token. Okay, so token URL is fine. Yeah, so we said that like there should be a route. We are not creating a route, just assume that there will be a route, right? And we will create in a coming video. So let's suppose there is a route login slash token, and it will like go to that particular route, and it will like perform everything whatever the user has entered from the data. It will perform everything. Okay, so this is done. Now go to the nano.items.py file. So we have created a form, right? We have created a form, but even after created a form, so we have to restrict some kind of functionality. So we have to implement that form on top of a users create not on the create user, but on a create item or put item or delete item, so that no one can like without authentication, no one can like create a post, no one can modify the post, no one can delete the post. First they have to authenticate yourself. So we have created a form in the login.py. So let's import that form. So from routers .login import OAuth 2 scheme. So let me cross check. I think it is OAuth 2 scheme only. ls nano login.py. So yeah, OAuth 2 scheme. So we are importing that. Now we have to implement where we have to implement. We have to implement in the create item. So within the create item, we are setting the item create, that is the enter the item. We are enter the DB as well. We are accepting the token as well. So token is basically a string, and it depends on OAuth 2 scheme. So basically what will actually happen, user will verify yourself. Once the user email will be get checked, then the password will be checked, then the user will create a token, and the token holds that particular information, like information regarding the email, whether the user is like authenticated or not, because token will only get created once the user get authenticated. So token create this kind of information, right? So that's, and now we will not like we will not verify every time like what is the basically what I am trying to say, when the user will create the item, we will not every time like authenticate the user, enter the username or password, enter the username and password. No, we because when we like log in into the Facebook, you just log in once. Even when you try to create a post, it will not ask the username and password again. When you try to start a chatting with someone, it will not ask again the username and the password. So you have to log in only once. So once the user will be get created, either like they will use the session or either we use the token, because everything is now in the token, right? So we can read the token and we can like use that token. So token is basically like you can say a part of authentication only. So we have the token only. So when the user will create the item, so we will pass the token as well. So we will read the token, and from the token we will read the particular email, like which user it is. And from that email we will get the user ID or owner ID, and that owner ID like will be get stored corresponding to the particular item. So we can't hard code that. All right. So what basically we have to do is, we have to, when we create the item, we have to accept the token as well. Okay. And when we in the get, we will not implement. When we put that, right? So when we put, so when the user will try to update, so user should update only their information only, auth to scheme. So here as well, like no, not here, sorry, not in the path but in the function. So we will accept the token. So you can say basically we are accepting the username and the password. So while performing any operation, while performing the post operation, we are authenticating the user. So we are saying enter the user ID and the password. So while even like performing the update of operation, we are saying first verify yourself whether you are the actual user or not. So rather than entering every time user ID and password, we will like ask the user ID and password once. We will create a token, and token will hold that information which the user has been like entered, and we will pass the token like okay. And this depends upon auth to scheme. So depends basically means like whatever the function, let me show you. So whatever the function like basically like this class go to this route login/token, which even does not exist right now, it will like create a token something like that, and it will return to this, right? So OAuth2 scheme. So that's why I am saying whatever the token, so for the individual user, so the token is different. So it is basically the token is depending upon the OAuth2 scheme. So whatever the token will came here, we will like accept there, same as of a data. All right. And in the we have created a two put method. So it also depends upon OAuth2 scheme. Again I am putting into the path, sorry. We will accept the token, it is a string, and what is value, it's depends upon OAuth2 scheme, and the delete as well. So it will accept the token as well. It should be in the form of string, and the value depends upon OAuth2 scheme. Fine. So we have implemented. So we left the get. So get is okay, like whether the user get authenticated or not. So anyone can like read the, even without logging, user can like see the item. That is fine. And even in the user route, create user, so we don't need to pass the token because user creating the account. So how they have the token? Okay. So let me save it. So now we have the everything ready. So let's try to start the application. So application has been started. So till now we are able to see only this application, nothing login functionality, nothing like that. So and even here like all these are open, so these are not locked. So now let me refresh it. So as soon as I refresh it, so I could see one authorized functionality here, and I could see all these routes are getting locked now. So until unless user will not authenticate yourself, like they can't create the account. So if I try to create the account, try to create a post, let me try to create a post, execute. So I am saying like it's not authenticated because they told that first authenticate yourself. So without like authentication, like I can't even create, I can't even delete the post. So first I have to authorize myself. So I came here. So you see we are using the OAuth2 password bearer. So OAuth, so this beautiful, like you can say, username, because we have not write this input like type is equal to text, input type is equal to password. We have not write any HTML code, right? So we just like imported like one library and everything is ready for us, and it will like go to this URL, login.token URL, right? So we created one account, example@example.com, right? And the password is example. So as soon as I hit on the authorize, so it said that the not found. Why it said the not found? Because it is trying to find this route, login/token, because and they said that login/token doesn't found, because as I told you, this OAuth password bearer, because if you see the flow, first we need the form. So now we have the form ready, right? And how the form get generated? Just by this line. So the form is getting ready. So now we have the form ready. So it will take the username and the password. Okay, it will take the username and the password we are entering, and then we are clicking on the authorize icon, fine, or hitting the enter, that is also fine. After, so leave this two fields, client ID, client server, we don't require this. We have to just like username and the password only, right? Then we are saying that we have to verify the data, but from where it will verify the data, which function it will call. So that is the function, that is the login/token. So this login/token will do everything, that is, it will verify, it will check the user, it will verify the password, it will create a token, it will return a token. So all these thing will be like come under the login/token route, right? But now it trying to go to the login/token, but login/token route doesn't exist. So if you see here, let me close here. So login/token route doesn't exist, right? So we have, because we have not implemented that functionality, so that's why like they told that like it failed. But like these things are like locked. So if we try to, okay, never, if I try to implement that one, if I try to update any item, so it told me that you are not authenticated. So first I have to authorize myself, but I can create the account, because in the front of account there is no lock. So first I have to authorize. So authorize means first create a account and then login. So once you are logged in, then you have the URL. So not the URL, so then you have the token, and that token will be passed here. So now we don't have any token, so that's why they are saying that you are not authenticated, right? So because the token will be get generated, and when we hit this route, so it will check that particular token, because in that nano items.py file, because here we are accepting the token, so it will verify the token. So it verify the token means verify the email, whether that email address exists or not. Right now this is empty, so that's why it is saying that it looks it is empty, because you have not like authenticated, right? So you are not authenticated. So first you have to authorize yourself, like authenticate yourself. So okay, so this part is done. So user are sending the form data and the email password. In the next video we will see how to verify the user, whether the email ID exists, how to verify the password. Verify password, like we already like created a one function. Let me show you. Nano hashing.py. So verify password, we are already created a function, because we are using the Passly module, and we are storing the password in a form of hash, and we have to verify the password. Verify will just take the password which the user will enter and the password which exists in the database, and it will automatically verify. It will compare. If it return true, then it means the user has entered the correct password. So these things. So first step is okay. Now how to verify the user, how to verify the password, and how to create a token. All these steps we will see in the next video. So once we have created a token, then we will see how to like because here let me show you nano item.py file. Here we are like passing the token, but from the token we want the owner ID field. So owner ID, because within the token we have the email, and using the email from the database we can easily get the owner ID, because the database holds the once the user get created, so in the database. So let me show you again. nano models. So in the database, so we are storing the email ID, we are storing the password. So this will get stored, but automatically ID will be get created. So we want this ID because user owner ID is basically user.id only. So we want this ID. So that's why we are passing the token. So because the token contains the email ID, so we fetch the email ID from the token, and then we will, now we have the email ID, then we will run a query into the database to get the owner ID, and then that owner ID we will pass. Okay, but that we will see in the next video, because now we understand the concept. Now everything is very easy for us. So till now we have created a form, because the first step is to create a form. So next step we will see in the next video. Thank you for that.